Hey everyone, it's Matt here, and today I'm going to share with you how to hear the word yes more from potential affiliates. Now, this is a question that originally came from Adam Franklin, who had expressed some, disconcern, or concern about how to reach out to affiliates. He's like, it's easy to say yes to opportunities to promote, but it's hard to ask. And then I've heard from numerous people, especially over the past, month or so. Well, Matt, I'm afraid to reach out to people. I don't like hearing the word no. How do I get to hear yes more? How do I find more affiliates? And as uncomplicated as this answer may be, it's numbers. It's a numbers game. The reality is you're not going to hear yes 100% of the time. You're going to hear yes 5, 10, maybe 20% of the time. And if you ask 100 people, well, then you're going to get 5, 10, or 20 yeses. If you ask 1,000 people, you're going to get 50, 100, or 200 yeses. And there's a passage in this book here. If you haven't read this, by the way, this is one of the Small Big by Robert Cialdini and who are the other guys? Steve Martin and Noah J. Goldstein. This is one of the probably top 10 marketing books that I could possibly recommend. And we'll have a link below this video to where you can get that. But I mean, along with Cialdini's book Influence, which is definitely a number one book to read if you're going to be in online marketing, this is another one of those books. I also want to read the book Yes by the same three guys, I believe. I know Robert Cialdini was one of the authors, and I believe it was Goldstein and Martin. But in chapter 34, it says, "What's surprisingly small big can help you or get you the help when you most need." And I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but if you'll indulge me for a second, I want to read something I think is critical to this. How do I get to hear the word yes more? And it says that the authors collected additional data to determine exactly why people have the strong tendency to underestimate the likelihood that a person will respond affirmatively to a request for assistance. In brief, they found that the requesters, so that's the person asking, tend to focus on the cost to the potential help provider in terms of time, effort, or money if he or she says yes, while giving less consideration than they should to the social costs in terms of difficulty, awkwardness, or potential guilt embarrassment the potential help provider will experience if he or she says no. So I want to make sure you caught that. We're overestimating the odds of people saying no. Now catch this next part. I'm quoting from the book here. The implications seem clear. When trying to decide whether to make a request of someone, it's important to recognize that you might be underestimating the likelihood of hearing yes. This misunderestimation, that was almost George W. Bush's in there. This underestimation, if left uncorrected, could therefore potentially stymie your productivity or the accomplishment of your goals. Now, to be clear, they're saying that we underestimate the likelihood that someone will say yes. You hear this all the time when people talk about asking for a raise at work. The reality is, if you go in and ask for a raise, a 5, 10, 15% raise, the odds are you're going to hear yes if you are a valued member of the team. If the answer is no, then you go find another job. And if they're not willing to pay you an extra $10,000 a year for your services that are, at least they've kept you, they must be decent enough, it's time to go find other employment. And so the same is true in a sense for asking affiliates. We underestimate the odds that somebody might say yes. I have heard yes from people I never expected to hear yes from. I have heard yes from people who made us $50,000, $100,000. Never expected to hear yes, but I did because I asked. And so I'm reminded of from the Bible. It says we receive not because we ask not. And if you don't ask, you're not going to hear yes. And I get it. There's a fear of hearing no. It's in most people, it's deep inside of us that we are fearful of hearing the word no. We don't like it. That's why we don't ask people out on a date. That's why I didn't ask, the woman who eventually became my amazing wife. I didn't ask her out on a date because I was scared of hearing no. And the thing was, I wasn't with her at the time. So I couldn't be any less with her. I could not be less dating her. I could not be less married to her, less in a relationship with her, whatever it may be. We could not have less children than we had before we finally went out. But I was afraid of hearing no. And when you break it down like that, it's a completely irrational thing. But it's ingrained in us. It's rejection. We don't like to be rejected. We'd rather never find out. But the way to hear more yeses is to ask more. You receive not because you ask not. And you got to get through that fear, because you don't, we hear about this, what's the phrase? It's like, courage is not the absence of fear, it's acting in spite of fear. And the only way to get better at asking is to fight through that fear. The only way to get better at asking is to ask more people. And you're going to hear more no's. You're going to hear more yeses. You're going to hear more maybes. Babe Ruth, not only for the longest time led the, baseball in home runs, but he also led in strikeouts. Sometimes when you swing for the fences, you miss. So again, the way to hear more yeses is to ask more. I'm reminded of a video. I mean, it's a great video from, probably a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago. There was a kid, I think his name was Michael Pollock. He was a student at Vanderbilt. I won't hold that against him. I'm a Tennessee guy. What can I say? I went to UT, go Vols. And so, this kid, Michael Pollock, went to Vanderbilt, and Billy Joel was in town. And Billy Joel was, as far as I can tell, he's up on stage, like performed a few songs, shared part of his journey. I think it was for like the music department there. And he took Q&A. And this kid, Michael Pollock, stands up and he's like, wow, I'm honored to get to see you. Hey, I've been able to play with this person, and I was wondering if I could play with you. And the crowd just goes, ooh, like, no, he didn't. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy they just asked to play with Billy Joel. Billy Joel like grabs his towel. It's so cinematic. He goes, okay. Of course, the crowd erupts, and he goes up there, and this version of, what song was it? I can't remember. A New York State of Mind. Oh my goodness. Like, it's amazing. Unbelievable thing. And the thing is, he never would have heard yes if he hadn't have just asked. That he faced public rejection. But if you think about that, for just break this down. What if Billy Joel had said, honestly, no, I can't. I've got like 10 more minutes. We're going to play one song. I don't know about you, but like, I don't know that I would sulk, because had he ever played with Billy Joel before? Nope. Had he played with Billy Joel still? Nope. Nothing's changed. And actually, he's the kid that had the, gumption, if you will. I think, thinking of another word, but, he had the guts to ask Billy Joel to play, and Billy Joel said yes, and he became a celebrity. He was on the Today Show and like 10,000 other talk shows, all because he asked. So if you're looking for a way to ask that will increase the odds of hearing yes, though, I guarantee you this is not going to work 100% of the time. It's not going to work 50% of the time. It's probably not even going to work 30% of the time, unless you ask 2 people and one of them says yes, it will work 50% of the time. And that's my ask formula. And it starts with, it's ASK, and it starts with assume a positive response. And what I mean by that is, this is a mindset thing. You've got to go into the ask assuming that you're going to hear yes. You assume that this product is good for that person's audience, which we'll come to that in a second. You assume that this offer is good for them. You assume that they are going to respond positively to your request. And when you do that, something changes in your mind. Now, guys, this changes. This like when you're talking to somebody, maybe to ask them out for a date or something, and you go up to them with this like attitude, like, well, maybe, hey, I know, you're busy, but I just wondering if you want to go out sometime or something. No pressure. Or if you walk up, just not like a jerk, but just confidently say, hey, I'd really like to get to know you better. Would you like to go out on a date sometime? People notice in person the confidence and the lack of confidence. They notice when you're expecting to hear no, but it also comes across in email. It comes across in the types of words that we use. It comes across, a lot of it is just a mental thing. You subconsciously use words that you don't intend to use because you don't expect a positive response. So assume a positive response. The S is show them the benefit. Focus on the benefit to them and to their audience. How will your product benefit them? How will your product benefit their audience? Don't focus on the benefit for you. Don't focus on like, it's got 7 widgets, it's got this, it's got 8 modules, whatever. No, focus on the benefit to them and to their audience. And the K is to know their audience, and know their needs. You need to know their audience's pain points. You need to know their audience, the demographics and the psychographics of their audience. And when you assume the positive response, you show them the benefit, and you know their audience, you will increase the odds of hearing yes. But the number one way to get more yeses, as I said, is to just ask more. So Adam, everyone else, I hope that answers that question for you. How do you hear yes more when reaching out to potential affiliates? Guys, I'm Matt McWilliams from Affiliate Launches Made Simple. And if you're watching this anywhere other than my website at mattmcwilliams.com, make sure to head on over there. And I've got tons of free resources that'll help you recruit affiliates, run affiliate programs. Also got tons of free resources if you want to learn how to make more money as an affiliate. So I've got both sides covered there, again, over at mattmcwilliams.com. And I will see you there, and I'll see you again in the next video.